We welcome you from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Beautiful Monday night, PNC Park, the home of the Pirates. It's the Brewers and the Pirates division rivals tonight. Game one of a three-game series. Starting pitching matchup this evening, Jhoulys Chacín for the Brew Crew. The red-hot Chacín against a struggling Trevor Williams for the Buccos. Speaking of pitching, how about we take you back a little bit? Let's go back to 1987. The big left-hander, Dan Plesac, some of his best stuff at the pinnacle of his career in 1987. Might have got a little off the edge there on the corner. Dan Plesac now a star on MLB Network. And as Bill Schroeder has taken 3 days off, we have called on the old left-hander out of the Brewer bullpen. The former closer joins us for three here in Pittsburgh. Great to have you with us, my friend.
Gotta warn you, the fastball isn't what it used to be. So if you're looking for 3 outs, I can give you 3 outs. But I'm no Josh Hader right now.
It is great to have you here in Milwaukee,
nice to be home.
Working with the Brewers, Brewers Television the next 3 days. Now, we've talked a lot about the Brew Crew today, and you're covering the Brewers on a national level. So you tell us, what is most looking forward to from your perspective right now with this team?
The dynamic duo, the law firm, Kane and Yelich. Right now, the Brewers hit 2 home runs in the offseason. One they did free agent, the other they acquired via the trade. Lorenzo Kane has been just what the Brew Crew needed. A presence at the top of the order. He brings some energy to the ballpark every day. A winning player with a World Series title with the Kansas City Royals. He's been everything the Brewers had hoped he would be. And then Christian Yelich, multi-talented. He reminds me a little bit of Ken Griffey and Devon White. He's a glider in the outfield. He hits for average, he hits for power. This was a big trade. 2 key moves, and the Brewers hit 2 home runs with both guys.
All right, that sets us up for first pitch. You got time to guzzle down 2 Mountain Dews.
I'm ready.
Dan Plesac will join us. We're ready to play ball in Pittsburgh. The series starts next. It's the Brewers and the Buccos on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Milwaukee Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Hupy and Abraham. Voted best, rated best, Hupy and Abraham. Tell them you mean business. By Miller Lite, great taste and only 96 calories. And by Menards, save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. They do a great job here with their video, their music. It's probably the best in the league. Unfortunately, you know, they don't have the big crowds here, but it's legit.
Yes. What's that?
Pizza Ranch for the win.
Okay. Gotcha. You got it. Okay, you got it. Will that come up on a graphic so I'll know what it is? Bingo.
Yeah, you'll see that graphic.
Bingo. Okay.
Keep your eye on that one that says ISO. I mean, that one's the same, but it may be hard to see. That's the telly.
Okay.
If you need it, but sometimes it's a little hard to see. I'll handle all the defense and the lineups and
whatever you want to do.
Oh no. I got all that. Why you so low? Is that umpire rotation? Sunny and hot all day today in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's a beautiful night for baseball as they cross over the Roberto Clemente Bridge. 87 degrees at game time. First of three, the Brewers and the Pirates. Brian Anderson, Dan Plesac, Dario Melendez with you. Great to have you with us here tonight. Tonight's game produced by Brent Reeland, directed by Phil Malika. Craig Counsell and the crew trying to get back to winning ways after dropping back-to-back games against the Phillies. Had a 3-3 homestand, but the Brewers do open play today in first place in the National League Central. They've got a half-game lead over the Chicago Cubs, who also lost yesterday. Let's take a look at Council's Potawatomi batting order tonight. Lorenzo Cain leads off, Christian Yelich, and then Ryan Braun. In the middle goes Eric Thames, Hernan Perez, and Jonathan Villar. Eric Kratz will do the catching, the former Pirate. Orlando Arcia and Jolie Chassin will round out the starting nine. And Dan Plesac, Trevor Williams is on the mound for the Pittsburgh Pirates. As hot as Chassin has been for Milwaukee, it's been the other side of the spectrum for Trevor Williams.
He's had a rough go the last 4 or 5 starts, B. I talked to Steve Blass, voice of the Pirates baseball, and he said it's been a little bit of a confidence thing. 4-pitch mix, fastball, slider, change, curveball. The strikeouts have gone down, the walks have gone up. It's a little bit of a concern, and the Pirates are hoping that tonight he can initiate some action a little bit early on. They feel that he's been going into too many deep counts. Good fastball, not a great fastball. So he's searching for some answers, and the Brew Crew hoping to jump on him early.
Let's take a look at the defense behind the right-hander Williams for the Pirates. Corey Dickerson, Starling Marte, Gregory Polanco in the outfield. Colin Moran, Jordy Mercer, Josh Harrison, and Josh Bell make up the Pirates infield, and Francisco Cervelli, who is having a fantastic year, an all-star type year behind the plate. Umpiring crew in place. Larry Vanover will call the balls and strikes. He is also the crew chief. David Rackley, Hunter Wendelstedt, and Chris Guccione. 4-man umpiring crew in place, and we are ready for baseball here in Pittsburgh tonight. Lorenzo Cain set to lead off, and Williams' first offering is swung on and foul backhand. Away we go.
You know, Brian, we touched on it in the open. Talk about Brew Crew hitting a home run with Cain and Yelich, and Cain has really been, I think he's a fun guy to watch from a national perspective. Getting a chance to watch from afar brings a lot of energy. Winning player, World Series champion with the Kansas City Royals, and he's been terrific so far for the Brewers.
Been an interesting mix with those two. Occasionally Cain will hit third. In the original lineup today, Lorenzo Cain was in the 3 spot in the batting order with Eric Thames leading off. But Travis Shaw has come up with a bit of a wrist injury and said he felt something tweak yesterday. Shaw having problems with his right wrist, so he was a late scratch today, and Craig Counsell having to reshuffle his lineup. Cain goes back to the leadoff spot, and Williams has fallen behind 3-1.
That seems to have been the problem the last handful of starts for Trevor Williams. Doesn't have the kind of stuff, Brian. He needs to be around the strike zone and hopefully to initiate some contact early.
3 balls and a strike. Cain sends one high in the air to left. That is the Sun Field to get us started here tonight, and Corey Dickerson will put it away, and that's how the night begins for Trevor Williams. I would imagine, as Neil Huntington, the Pirates general manager, stated in the Pittsburgh newspaper yesterday, Williams is in there for the long haul. They are going to ride it out with him this 6-game window, but I'm imagining that confidence is a big part, maybe some mechanics, but confidence for a young pitcher who got off to such a great start this year for the Pirates, and he is having a hard time getting outs over his last 6.
One of the things, Brian, and there isn't a pitcher that will tell you this about confidence. The one thing that most pitchers, all with the exception maybe of John Smoltz, Greg Maddux, Glavine, Pedro Martinez, the bat. Afraid to pitch to contact, and he's the kind of guy that needs to get some outs early in the count. The more pitches that he throws, the more the Brewers get an idea of what he has in his arsenal. He's not a big strikeout guy, so he needs to get some outs early in counts.
Making his 4th career appearance against Milwaukee. This is his 3rd start as Yelich swings and fouls one away. Yelich down on the count, a ball and 2 strikes.
That's one of the fine lines that you run when you're out on that bump. It can be one of the greatest places in the world to be when things are going well, but when things are going poorly, like they've been going for Williams, it's kind of the double-edged sword. You want to initiate contact, you want guys to swing, but when you're not overly confident in your stuff, I think the first thing that goes is you lose the confidence in the fastball, and that still is the best pitch in the game.
See what he has in mind. 1-2. Yelich takes a called strike 3, a ring up from Larry Vanover. And there is out number 2. 2 up and 2 down for Trevor Williams.
Kind of the pitch that Greg Maddux brought into play, that comeback fastball just catches the upper quadrant. That's a pitch we've seen over the last year or 2 called more and more often for a strike, and a lot of pitchers now are trying to pitch, particularly with 2 strikes, that 4-seam fastball, riding it up in the zone.
Now finding a window for outs up in the strike zone. All those years of pitchers like you being yelled at to keep the ball down. Not anymore. First ball swinging, Ryan Braun. Routine out to Harrison, and Williams with a 1-2-3 inning. We're off and running here in Pittsburgh. Yoeli Chacin on the mound for the Brew Crew tonight. A lot of P's in there. Heavy alliteration. As we head to the bottom of the first, the Brewers fail to score. Let's check the Pirates now. Clint Hurdle's Potawatomi batting order with Josh Harrison, Corey Dickerson, Starling Marte leading off. In the middle goes Colin Moran, Francisco Cervelli, and Josh Bell. Gregory Polanco, Jordy Mercer, and Trevor Williams will round out the starting 9 against maybe the hottest pitcher going for the Milwaukee Brewers, Yoeli Chacin. He has been red hot in his last 12 starts, Dan. 6 wins, no losses, and a 2.66 ERA.
You know, if you're about winning, 15 starts. The Brewers have won 12 of his 15 starts. We talked about Yelich and Kane, and another great move by David Stearns in the front office, bringing this guy in. So far, he's been their best and most consistent pitcher.
Signed a multi-year contract with the Brewers, a 2-year deal coming from the Padres last year. Chacin has been a strike thrower for the Brewers, and he's coming off a terrific start on Wednesday against the Chicago Cubs. That was a win. 6 innings, no runs against the heavy-hitting Cubs. The Brewers won that game 1-0. That was the second of back-to-back shutouts against Chicago. Harrison leans out on one and serves it into left field for a base hit. Like a tennis backhand, a base hit for Josh Harrison to start it for the Buccos. Let's check the Brewers defensively tonight. No Travis Shaw in the lineup at third. The outfield is Braun, Kane, and Yelich. And then around the horn, it'll be Perez to get the start at third base. Arcia and VR make up the Keystone combo. Eric Dames at first. 2 home runs yesterday. Eric Kratz, the former Pirate, will do the catching. All in support of Jolie Chassin. Lead runner on for the Pirates. Here comes Corey Dickerson. Pittsburgh is coming off a series win against Cincinnati. They did lose yesterday. There's a little tapper. Chassin got to hustle it over to first. A scoop to first base for out number 1. Nice play.
He made that play look a lot easier than it can be. One of the things when you have a ball top like that is your natural instinct is to try to get to it, Brian, as quickly as you can. And you often see a pitcher air mail one or fire one. He does a good job of getting to the ball right here. This is that split changeup that he incorporated in the last game. He does a great job letting Thames know that he has it. And a nice underhand scoop here. Very well done.
For the first out of the game for Chassin. On the play, advancing to second base, Josh Harrison. Chassin does all those little things well. He fields his position. He holds runners on. He is a veteran in the major leagues. And a guy who doesn't have the overpowering stuff. Has to compete on a lot of levels to have success, which he does well. So a runner in scoring position for Starling Marte. Marte coming in at 285 with 8 home runs, 32 runs batted in. No real shining star for the Pirates. Nobody putting up the huge numbers. They're pretty steady throughout. They had a great start to the year, but they ran into a tough month at the end of May and on into June. And right now the Pirates are wondering if they are going to be adding on to their roster to try to contend in this division, or if they are going to be selling some pieces. They're 35 and 36, a game under 500. Right now the Pirates are 7 back of the Brewers in the NL Central.
I think one of the cause for concern for the Pirates, right fielder Gregory Polanco, who had gotten off to such a great start the first couple of weeks of the season. He was kind of the talk of the Pirates camp at spring training, kind of rechanged his body, a sleeker, trimmer version, and he's had a rough go of it. Marte has had a kind of an up and down season so far in 2018. It will look so promising early for the Buccos. Right now they're just battling to stay above 500.
Pirates did win 3 in a row before their loss yesterday. Actually were down 5 runs yesterday and made a comeback, a lot like the Brewers did against the Phillies in yesterday's game, both coming up short. Reds won that game 8-6. Chassin paying a lot of attention to Josh Harrison. He is the one base runner that is as disruptive as anybody in the Pirates lineup when he gets on. Big swing and a miss by Marte. It's 1-2.
You know, Chassin's a fun guy to watch, Brian. You touched on it. He's not an overpowering guy. 4-pitch mix, fastball, slider, change. And he incorporated in the last start against the Cubs a little split changeup that he'll use against lefties. And it'll be a pitch that he's going to need tonight against. We saw that early on the ground ball to Dickerson with Moran on deck and Josh Bell and Polanco. That split changeup, if he has a good one tonight, it could be a really good weapon for him.
16th start of the year for Chassin. There's a wave and a miss. He got Marte to chase one. And a strikeout, the first of the night for Chassin. Our Pizza Ranch for the win. What do you have tonight, Sackman?
I think one of the keys that for Chassin is he's going to have to hopefully eat up some innings. The Brewers had to go to the bullpen the last 2 games into the 6th inning, so they'd love for him to get through 6 innings, and that would help them set up that bullpen, which in my opinion is the strength of this Brewers team. Get some innings out of Chassin.
2 outs, runner at second. Here's Colin Moran. They call him Redbeard here in Pittsburgh. Moran hit a home run yesterday. Full summer beard in effect. It's got to be slightly uncomfortable when you get into the hot weather. It was a warm one today in Pittsburgh. Glad to have it, though. Easy to get loose.
Colin Moran, a little bit of a Brewers tie. His uncle, former Brewer B.J. Surhoff.
Nice. Battery
Battery mate of mine. First round, first pick of the draft.
We like to call B.J. Surhoff the platoon partner of Bill Schroeder.
That's exactly right. I wonder what Bill's doing right now. I picture Bill on a canoe in a raft somewhere
with a broken paddle, stuck out in the middle of the lake.
In the middle of a man-made lake.
And he doesn't know how to, with floaties on. With floaties on, and he doesn't know how to swim.
He's got one of those little dinosaur floaties around his waist.
Sure. Sunglasses on. It's getting dark.
Kind of a Cousin Eddie look, right?
Absolutely. He's trying to find out. He knows west is where the sun is setting, but he can't quite get his bearings. There he is.
He's right out there. I see him. Rock. Yep, there he is. Swim this way, partner.
He's like, I didn't know that Lake Michigan funneled into the Allegheny.
He's trying to catch three-eyed fish in the Allegheny right now, between pierogies.
Oh,
we miss you, partner. We'll see Rock back when the Brewers return home on Thursday. In the meantime, great to have Dan Plesac join us on loan from MLB Network. 1-2 the count on Colin Moran. And a fly ball into center. That's the Sun field. Kane shaded his eyes and runs right to the spot to make the play. And it's a scoreless first inning for Jolie Chassin.
The top of the second inning, and after speaking with some of the guys inside the Brewers clubhouse this afternoon, there was some obvious disappointment at the results from that 6-game homestand, splitting it, going 3-3. But offensively speaking, there wasn't really much to complain about. The Brewers averaged 5 runs a game, 50 hits, 9 home runs, 2 of those coming from Eric Thames, who just returned from the DL during that homestand. And he said a big key to carrying that momentum over into this series, this brief road trip here in Pittsburgh, is every player doing their part, that's not swinging at bad pitches, that's seeing good strikes, and that's making sure you stay disciplined at the plate.
All right, Dario, thanks. And the way the Brewers were able to mount the comeback last night, or yesterday, I should say, I think gives them a lot of confidence from a hitting perspective as Thames leads the way here in the second inning. You get down in a game like that, Dan, and you figure, you know, this is not our day, but then the Brewers on 3 different occasions were able to come back in the game. So they put up a lot of offense yesterday, some good vibes offensively coming in to this game tonight. And the Brewers, I think, overall feeling like they are in good structure offensively. Now that Thames is back, it does create a very talented bench each and every night for Craig Counsell.
You know, that's a good young Phillies team that the Brew Crew just played the last 3 days. I know disappointing, you win the Friday game and you're hoping at least to win 2 out of 3 in that series. I think what struck me in batting practice when we were down on the field earlier, Brian, was so used to that big beard from Eric Thames. It looks like a different guy. It looks like he's like 15 years old right now.
Thames has been back just a little over a week. I think that clipped him right on the elbow. So Thames is hit by a pitch on a 1-2 pitch. And Thames will reach first base runner of the night for Milwaukee.
Comeback fastball. that a lot of pitchers are trying to use nowadays. The right-handers throw that ball at the left-handed hitter's hip and try to bring it back in. That one he just hangs on to a little bit too long.
I think the home plate umpire, Larry Vanover, was waiting for a reaction from Thames. Sometimes in that scenario, umpires are using their ears as much as their eyes. And you could hear that little clip of that elbow pad. So the first base runner puts Williams in the stretch here for the first time. And the red-hot Hernan Perez, who gets the late call to play third base today with Travis Shaw out. The Shaw injury not expected to be significant at all, just a day-to-day thing. But a chance to get Perez back in, and Shaw another day to try to heal. He said he felt it in the middle of an at-bat yesterday against Philadelphia. That right wrist tightness, a little tweak. Hernan Perez again proving his value. Got the start at shortstop against the Phillies. Starts at third base here tonight. He has started 5 different positions. He has played 7 this year, and he has played every position on the field in the major leagues with the exception of catcher. Yes, he even pitched a couple of times for the Brewers. Perez has been able to raise his batting average in just a little over a month from 185 to 273. 31 game stretch now for Hernan Perez, and he is red hot.
Pretty good pitch right there from Trevor Williams. You're kind of getting a little bit of a look at his issues have been. He hits Thames to start the inning off, and he runs a quick ball 1, ball 2 count on Perez, but he makes a couple of really good pitches, and that pitch right there, a pretty good breaking ball pitch on a 2-1 count.
Clint Hurdle working the gum over tonight as usual, keeping a close eye on his young right-hander. Thames at first. Perez spoils another one foul. Count will remain at 2-2. Hernan had 8 hits on the recent homestand. Had a homer. Was 8 for 17. Very limited action against the Pirates this year. Just 5 at-bats. VR due next for Milwaukee. Perez in the air, center field. Marte trying to find it, does find it, makes the catch for the out. Another 20 minutes or so, that center field area where the sun is now setting can be very difficult. And we saw Lorenzo Cain pause for a moment. These big league outfielders are used to that. Gives those relievers who are shagging during batting practice all kind of fits, though.
Early on in your, early on at the end though, Brian, what you try to do, at Old County Stadium, it was so cold early in the year that you'd see all the pitchers would converge wherever the sun was at right field. Right. That's where you'd find the entire pitching staff. But this is a great shot of the ballpark here. This is really a beautiful ballpark, and you can see by the reaction of the outfielders, you're looking right into that sun. As you touched on, another about 15-20 minutes, the field will be covered in shade.
They've had an all-star game here, one of the gems in Major League Baseball, right on the banks of the Allegheny River. And that downtown setting across the river, you go across the Roberto Clemente Bridge to get to downtown, is as picturesque as you will find in Major League Baseball, especially when the sun is shining brightly like it is and shining down on the downtown area. Jonathan VR, the switch hitter, with Thames at first. VR with a couple of hits yesterday against the Phillies. Has been able to play through a calf injury. Never went on the disabled list, but it did knock him out of the lineup for 4 days. He says he's fine. He thinks the calf injury was originally because of a tightness in the hamstring. Go down the kinetic chain there, and VR told the athletic trainers that he was feeling a little tight down the leg and especially in the calf, and they shut him down for a few days. Now he says he's good to go. As a left-handed hitter, he's hitting 270. The story has been VR off the right side and much fewer at-bats. He's shown terrific power, and he's hit for average as a right-handed batter. But his history tells you he is a better left-handed hitter. And his more comfortable side, those are the career numbers with a lot more homers and a lot more runs batted in. Two balls, two strikes on VR. Brewers have a runner at first. Eric Thames was hit by a pitch to start this inning.
Don't see much of it nowadays where teams, the importance of, not trying to give away any outs, but it'd be interesting here. You might want to feel like if VR can put the ball in play, you might want to try a hit and run, try to get the infielders moving around a little bit, open up a hole.
And a swing and a miss. VR is down on strikes. He was selling the idea that he fouled it off. But a swing and a miss. Larry Vanover doesn't bite. And that is the second strikeout for Williams.
Pretty good breaking ball here from Williams. This appears to be a strike all the way. It looks like a low sinking fastball. Hard cutter, 91 miles an hour. We're seeing that pitch more and more. And hitters will tell you the two pitches that are so difficult to hit, the split finger and that hard cutter that we saw right there from Williams. That was a terrific pitch.
Williams played his college ball at Arizona State. Was traded from the Marlins to the Pirates. One of the more interesting trades you will see as Eric Kratz takes a strike. So Trevor Williams was not traded for a player. He was traded based on compensation from a member of the front office, actually a member of the pitching department. Jim Benedict went from the Pirates to the Marlins to run the Marlins pitching program. And in compensation for that, the Pirates got Williams. Had sought him out, felt like they would do something, and they went out and got the player that they wanted. So he was not involved in a big trade for a
That's not
famous player.
You don't tell that to your friends, though. They say, you were traded? Yeah. I was part of the Stanton trade. It was a three-way. Stanton went to New York, and then I ended up in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it was a really under-the-table deal.
It was complex.
You don't remember. It probably doesn't even show up on the transactions wire, but that's how it went. Little half swing by Kratz. That's a strike. And the count is a ball and two strikes.
As you touched on, the Pirates are trying to be patient. And if you've seen the last couple of years in Milwaukee, it can be so painful as a fan and front office personnel when you have young pitchers. You see flashes of good. You see 2-3 starts in a row, and you're thinking that maybe that Trevor Williams has turned a corner. Then they take a couple of steps backwards. It's kind of the process with young pitchers.
Good breaking ball there to strike out Kratz, and back-to-back Ks to end the second inning. in his last few starts.
Well, what most good pitchers, it's about deception and angles. You go back to his last start, the breaking ball. I still think BA, that's his bread and butter pitch. His fastball, he moves around the plate, but this breaking ball at times is unhittable. And the pitch that he incorporated, that little split circle changeup, this is a good backdoor curveball. Slider, great command, but I think if he mixes in that, there's it is right there. One of the keys is the last thing that touches that baseball is your pointer finger, and that gets you that side rotation right here that gets that ball. If you'll see any fastballs that look like they're going down and away to lefties and into righties, it's a pretty good chance it'll be anywhere between 85 to 91 miles an hour, a little bit off the fastball, just enough to get him out front swinging ahead of it.
Well, that split change that he started to throw in the game Wednesday against the Cubs is something that he has just now implemented into his arsenal. He has thrown a lead strike here on Francisco Cervelli with the split change. It is a very similar pitch to what Jeremy Jeffress has put into play, and for the longest time in his career, even at age 30, Jhoulys Chacín has struggled with a changeup. There's a little half swing, and VR coming in, and the throw is wide. He never had a grip, and Cervelli will reach on a play that the Brewers' second baseman should make. That'll be an infield hit, but VR looked like he threw his own changeup to first base.
Well, you touched on it, Brian. This was a really good pitch by Chacín off the end of the bat. Cervelli not able to hold up. Pitch that's on the outer half of the plate. There's a good look at VR right there. As you touched on, that's a play that normally he does make. He has plenty of time right here. Cervelli, as a catcher, doesn't run all that well. A good throw, no doubt, to get him at first base.
It's a friendly call here. By the way, you know who the official scorer is tonight for the Pittsburgh Pirates? Jack Zurynczyk, former Brewers scouting director, former general manager of the Seattle Mariners. He is your official scorer tonight.
And he must be a friend of pitchers, too, because that is a friendly decision.
So that'll be an infield hit for Cervelli, and now Josh Bell. He has been a struggling hitter for the Pirates this year. Getting back to Chacín, though, so here's a guy that's had a long career in the major leagues. He has been a pitcher that has pitched with velocity in the past. He's kind of remade himself as an excellent breaking ball. The fact that he would be willing to implement a changeup, a brand new pitch, as Bell sends one into left field, routine for Braun. I mean, talk us a little bit through that, Dan, because for me, in a guy that has pitched in 200 games in his career, right? And he's in the middle of a really successful run, but against the Chicago Cubs, he felt like he needed a little something different. And that split change felt good to him, and he put it in play right away.
You know, one of the things every pitcher struggles with, Brian, is you're looking for that one pitch that can get you out of trouble. And it's not always a swing and a miss. I went the first 7 or 8 years, and I think the changeup is a pitch that you either have it at the beginning, and over a course of time, it's a hard pitch to develop. And the split change that he's using right now, it's a quick fix, but it's also a pitch that you can get a ground ball. And going back to that start against the Cubs, and what it does too, it sends a guy like Polanco, if he sees that in his bat, he'll go back in the dugout. What was that pitch? I think it was a changeup. And now you add another pitch that a hitter has to go up there and worry about. And it doesn't have to be a great one, just a good one.
Single to right for Polanco. He is another struggling Pirates hitter, hitting just .211 coming into play tonight. But Cervelli and Polanco have base hits, and 2 men are on. A threat here for the Pirates in the second inning.
This is a pitch right here. This is a fastball, a little bit up in the zone that Polanco hooks between that hole there between first and second base. Not that bad of a pitch, and now it's time to make a good pitch right here.
Chacín will give you a number of different arm angles. He'll change his delivery in that sometimes he'll pause at the top. He'll give you a twist. He kind of makes it up as he goes, whatever feels right. All of it is designed to throw off the timing of the hitter. And he's got Jordy Mercer out in front of one. That'll be a swinging strike.
You know, we touched on it earlier, Brian. I think one of the keys, or two keys to being a successful pitcher, it's about deception and angles. You talked about how he'll do that slow, almost a Johnny Cueto-like slight pause, and then I wouldn't call it a quick pitch, but his delivery is faster, and it disrupts the timing for a hitter.
And there it is right there. A quick release by Chassin. Mercer takes it for a ball.
You know, I give him a lot of credit to incorporate that pitch, the split change that he used in the last start against the Cubs. There are a lot of people in the industry who are ready to. Justin Verlander, his days were gone and he was done with. But it's about making adjustments, and every good pitcher and great pitcher that's pitched for a while.
Ground ball, got a chance to turn it here. VR Arcia fires one to first in time. And Chassin gets the ground ball against the 8th place hitter. A double play to end the inning. He'll have the pitcher leading off next inning. At the top of the third. A reminder that 2 is better than 1 when it comes to Brewers bobbleheads. And this Sunday, June 24th, all fans at the Cruise Home Series finale versus the Cardinals will take home an Arcia Braun Gauntlet double bobblehead. Courtesy of Blue Jay Solutions, you can secure your seats at Brewers.com. Bobbles are a big deal at Miller Park, as you know, Sackman.
You know, I think that would be the coolest thing. I know a couple of weeks ago when they had the mayor of Ding Dong City, Travis Shaw, had his bobblehead day. I wanted to get one of those really bad. We had him on MLB Network. He had that walk-off base hit. What a fun guy to be around.
Yeah, he has been quite the hitter for the Brewers. Unfortunately, out of the lineup here tonight. A little bit of tweak of the wrist. Having a chat there with Wade Miley. There's news on Miley as well. He'll be heading out on a minor league rehab assignment soon. No mayor of Ding Dong City in the lineup tonight. Arcia leads off for Milwaukee, hitting 8th in the lineup.
The last I saw of Arcia did a Facebook game, the Cardinals at Milwaukee, and he had a call-up that day. And arrived just before the game-winning base hit to right field in a Brewers win.
Well, he's at his best when he's shooting the ball to right field. There are a lot of mechanical adjustments that Arcia is trying to make. I like what Craig Counsell had to say, though. He goes, the way he plays defense, his ability to change the game and improve the game for them, improve a pitching staff with his defense, allows Counsell to have Arcia in the lineup, let him work through some of his offensive adjustments. I think they would prefer that he be in AAA and make it a quick fix, try to settle in and get some confidence back. But for now, because of the shortage at the shortstop position the Brewers have in their system and the injury to Tyler Saladino, Mauricio Dubon is out for the year. AAA shortstop tore his ACL. So for now, Arcia will ride it out, and they're hoping something clicks with the bat soon.
What makes it tough when you play this National League style of baseball that the Brewers are forced to play, with the exception of Interleague, you get to the 8 and 9 spot in the order. This is a perfect example. You know, if this shakes out, you would assume you're going to have Lorenzo Cain up with 2 outs and nobody on.
Fly ball to right, hit hard. Polanco races back and makes the catch. That's a good at-bat by Arcia. It goes as an out, but that'll be one Darnell Coles marks down as a quality at-bat. Hit the ball sharply with 2 strikes.
You know, as a hitting coach, Darnell Coles, he lives and dies with these guys, and this is really a really good piece of hitting. He doesn't try to pull this fastball and drives it, and that's one of those when things are going bad, you hit a ball in the screws like that, and Polanco makes a nice play just on the warning track in right field.
The detailed scoring system that Darnell Coles uses is fascinating. We don't know all the details. He doesn't share them all, but what he does share is that it has nothing to do with hits and at-bats. So it's not about, for him as a hitting coach, trying to dive in deep to the hitting mechanics. It's, are you down on time, meaning your foot, is it down? Are you in a swing position? Are you taking the kind of swings in certain counts that you want? For example, in a 2-strike count, you make contact like that, that's going to be a positive on the Darnell Coles scoring system, and he provides that score at the end of every game. So he's trying to get the hitters off the scoreboard batting average. He wants them knowing their competitive juices are going to want to press and try to get the batting average up. But for him, it's more about the quality of the at-bat inside the at-bat. That does not apply to the Brewers pitchers at the plate. They're on their own. Chacin takes a strike, and it's 2-2.
That's the beauty of this game, Brian. 162 game schedule, unlike the NFL or the NBA, where you have a couple of days off to gather yourself. When you're in one of these ruts like RC is in right now, the days off are far and few in between, and that's what makes this grind of this schedule, to be able to do it day after day after day. And you come up to bat, you look at the scoreboard, you see your average is under 200, and you press and you try to do a little bit more, and you want to snap out of it. And it's a difficult thing to do.
Chacin able to check his swing. He'll draw a walk. So the Brewers get some success from their pitcher spot in the batting order. That is the first walk issued by Trevor Williams. And that's going to get to the top of the order in Lorenzo Cain.
You know, we talked about this earlier today, how the industry, I thought the Brewers were ahead of everybody. And I give David Stearns a lot of credit. A lot of people talked about Eric Hosmer and where he was going to land, and Mike Moustakas, their third baseman, and Greg Holland, the reliever, and Lorenzo Cain was kind of lost in that shuffle. And I thought the Brewers did a terrific job, and some of it is, you know, analytics, the way you look at players. But Brian, from the outside looking in, he brings a lot of energy. He brings some leadership. And this is a fun team to watch. You watch the interaction in the dugout, and they seem to gravitate around this guy. He's a winning player and a winning person.
And wanted to be in Milwaukee is maybe the biggest reason of all. He had set, through his agent, set the destination as Milwaukee as a place he would like to return. The Brewers gave him a 5-year deal. And you talk about his age. He is in his age 32 season this year, Lorenzo Cain. But the fact that he's coming off a season where he played 155 games with the Royals last year, that is the most he has played in a big league season. Last year at age 31 for Kansas City, and he put up career highs in a number of categories. That's back up the middle. Coming over is Harrison, a backhanded flip to Mercer. Cain will beat it down the line. It extends the inning, but the out at second base is out number 2.
You touched on it, Brian. In a day and age now where the days have gone by, where the Robin Yount era, where you wanted to see a guy out there 158, 160 games a season. We've kind of gone away from that as an industry in baseball, but I think there's something to it for the other 24 guys that are on that Brewer lineup and are on that roster that's in that dugout. When they see number 6 out in center field, I think it brings a lot of credibility. It brings a calm to the team and an expectation. And when he's in the lineup, they're just a better lineup. It's just plain and simple. With Cain and Yelich at the top of this order, you'd be hard-pressed to find a better 1-2 in the game of baseball than these two right now.
Well, on the baseball hitting side of things, right, where it shows up the most is in pitches seen, strikeouts down compared to last year and in years prior. As Yelich grounds right back to the mound, Williams will get out of the inning. So he works around a walk to the pitcher. And Williams has 3 scoreless on the board. The Buccos are coming up. season, the 2018-19 season. They're on sale right now at foxsportswisconsin.com/events. Say hello to Mike Budenholzer, new head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks. He's got his staff in place. Everybody coming from Atlanta, where his previous stop was. Had a chance to talk to Coach Bud the other day. He is loving Milwaukee. They've got a busy summer going over there at the practice facility, getting ready for training camp. Chassin back to work, facing his mound opponent here, Trevor Williams. These are little things, but the ability of Chassin to get a double play out of Jordy Mercer, who is a fly ball hitter, to end the last inning and allows him to face the pitcher to start this third inning. Those are important details for a starting pitcher to navigate his way through a lineup. No balls, 2 strikes. Talk about how coaches issue game scores on different things that they see in a game. I remember former Brewers pitching coach Rick Kranitz always gave you a couple extra attaboys if you'd have the pitcher lead off in the third or bat in the third. Nice play from Arcia deep in the hole to get Williams for out number 1.
Yeah, that's to your point right there. The value that Arcia brings to the Brew Crew with the glove. That's a really difficult play that he makes look easy. Tremendous arm strength. That kind of looked like an old Derek Jeter-esque kind of play. He made look really easy. Get a good look at it right here. This ball looked like it was ticketed to left field. Does a great job catching it off the back foot. Strong throw, right on the money, Derek Thames.
Arcia takes care of Williams. That's the second chance for Arcia today. He was involved in the 4-6-3 double play to end the last inning. When Chassin is right, he'll get a lot of ground balls. And he's starting to get those ground balls. Right now he has gotten 3 ground balls, producing 4 outs. Chassin's given up 3 hits, all singles. Second time around the batting order with Josh Harrison back up there.
Harrison a base hit in his first at bat on a pretty good breaking ball. It's one of those reach out and touch me kind of just soft line drives right over shortstop.
Harrison's always been tough on the Brewers. Did have a hit yesterday, drove in a run. Has hits in 15 of his last 20 games against Milwaukee. And he drives that one into left field. Braun going back. Fly balls go to die here in Pittsburgh. And Braun puts it away for out number 2.
Crazy the game of baseball, right? His first at bat, pretty good breaking ball from Chassin off the end of the bat, and he bloops one in for a base hit, squares one up pretty well right there, and hits a line drive to Brawny out and left.
If you're pitching to ballpark standards, right, going back to your days, where would that show up? When you're down in the count? I mean, are you challenging hitters more when you're in a pitcher-friendly ballpark like this?
It's easier to do in this ballpark, and I think that's one of the things that makes it so tough to develop good young pitchers in Boston, in Old Fulton County Stadium where the Braves. I think it's a lot easier, and it's no secret why the Dodgers over the years have developed a lot of good pitchers, because the most difficult thing for a young pitcher to believe in is trust that their stuff is good enough, and mainly it's fastball conviction. And you hear it, it's still the best pitch in the game of baseball. And I think when you pitch in a ballpark like Dodger Stadium, the National League West ballparks in general are good pitchers' ballparks. And to me, if I was a high school or college kid right now and Rob Manfred at the draft said that Dan Plesac selected by the Colorado Rockies, I think I would want to cry. It's just, I didn't realize how lucky I was to come up in County Stadium, because that was very much a pitcher's ballpark.
Yeah.
Except in July and August, you'd have some warm, hot, humid days, but for the most part, the wind blew in, and it's a lot easier. And I think when you get young pitchers, Brian, that they believe in the strike zone, because every pitcher, and they will never admit this, you're afraid of one thing, the bat. Contact. You know, and you hear this like pitch to contact. When you're a young kid, you don't want to pitch to contact. You want swings and misses. If you want to pitch to contact, right, you're going to play football. That's the contact sport. You're trying to eliminate contact, solid contact.
Chassin's got Dickerson 0-2 with 2 outs in the air, center field, and Kane will settle under it And there is the final out. Chassin with his best inning goes 1, 2, 3. The Brewers are coming to bat. Ryan Braun will lead us off. The 2018 MLB All-Star Game. Head to brewers.com/vote. Cast a ballot filled with Milwaukee Brewers to ensure the crew is well represented at the Midsummer Classic this July. You know how those national pundits are, Dan Plesac. The Brewers are not showing well right now in the All-Star voting. Those are the leaders. Issuing of the latest results in the All-Star voting. How about Markakis? How about the Atlanta Braves, by the way? With Freeman, Ozzie Albies, Nick Markakis.
This Walsh, Bryce Harper, to me, is the one hitting under 230 on the year. I get it. He's one of the faces, the brands of Major League Baseball, but he's had anything other than an all-star appearance first 3 months of the season so far up to this point.
Here we go to the fourth. Ryan Braun will lead the way for the Brewers. Now, the Brewers have some all-star worthy candidates. These are position players only that are involved in the voting. Certainly the Brewers will have some pitching candidates, but you look at a guy like Lorenzo Cain or Christian Yelich, certainly Travis Shaw could garner some votes. Braun hits it sharply right to Mercer, and Williams has out number one. One away for Eric Thames. He was hit by a 2-strike pitch his last time up. Had a big day yesterday. Bookend home runs for Thames off Aaron Nola, his first career leadoff home run. And then this home run to help bring the Brewers right back in it in the 9th inning. Powerball home runs number 8 and 9 for Eric Thames. His first 2 home runs since returning from the disabled list. And he hits that one high in the air to center. Almost in his tracks, Starling Marte. 2 quick outs for Trevor Williams in the 4th.
It's kind of the way the game of baseball goes, right? Trevor Williams, last handful of starts, he's had a rough go. Hasn't seen the 4th inning in his last 2 starts. Brew Crew looking for their first hit in this one, and we're already in the top of the 4th.
Brewers have had 3 reach base, a hit batter, a walk, and then Cain reached on a fielder's choice. So Williams has faced just 2 over the minimum. 2 outs here in the 4th inning. Hernan Perez at the plate. The Pirates are convinced that Williams will self-correct. They are going on a full body of work. He made it to the big leagues in September of 16. So 2 years ago, he was a September call-up after being traded from the Marlins to the Pirates. Last year, he started in the bullpen, ended up in the rotation, and did a nice job for him. He is a pitcher they are counting on in this rotation moving forward. He's got great stuff. There's no question about the array of stuff that he offers. Pirates are extremely confident in their pitching coach, Ray Searage, a former Brewer. He's had many reclamation projects. And I think the word is, as Perez draws the walk, the reclamation for Williams is right between the ears right now, and then they hope to get him back soon.
And Brian, unfortunately, that's the case with a lot of young pitchers. But you can look at a guy like Guerra for the Brewers. 2016, he was a terrific pitcher. Expectations were really high. 2017, you know, he pitched anything other than a guy that was an opening day starter. And a couple of starts, I've done 2 Facebook games, one in Milwaukee, one in St. Louis, and Garrett has been terrific. And it's the nature of this. We'd all like to have Smoltz, Glavine, and Maddox, and Avery, and you know, to just have this cycle turning over pitcher after pitcher. It's a difficult thing. I go back to my early days with Milwaukee, with Juan Nieves and Bill Wegman and Teddy Higuera, Cal Eldred, Chris Bosio. You just assume that you're just going to keep every year. You're going to dip down and find these guys, and it's not just the Pirates, it's the Brewers, it's a lot of teams. And if you don't have the financial flexibility to go out and spend, you have to develop a lot of these young guys that you're hoping for. You have to develop them within your system, and it's painful. It's painful because of the ups and the downs. And last year, you look at where the Brewers were right before the All-Star break, and everybody was thinking, you know, can you go out and acquire that pitcher? I'm sure the Brewers were in, but there are a lot of teams that are in on the same guys too. And you can't always just go out and I commend last year what the Brew Crew did, because it would have been easy to like give up on the plan and go short term, and then you pay for it long term. And you know, the time wasn't in 2017 to go all in and put your chips in. And you know, I'm sure the Brewers are looking now, but there are a lot of teams, Brian, that are looking for that guy. You know, who is that guy? Is it Cole Hamels? Is it Chris Archer? You know, are the names that we, you know, the guys, the usual suspects that you're hearing?
Jonathan Villar fouls that one away. Count remains at a ball and 2 strikes.
And if you're a team, a middle market team like Milwaukee, you're not the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Red Sox, the Cubs that can afford to have a lot of mistakes, a long-term contract. And you know, a lot of people now, the Cole Hamels is the guy. Well, the price tag is $20 million. So you're going to acquire a guy that you're going to probably have to pay somewhere around $8.5 to $9 million and give up a young player to get him back in return.
He had another year on his contract potentially for Hamels. VR hits it sharply. That's going to fall into center field, a base hit. So the Brewers making a little noise here with 2 outs. Perez draws the walk. Now VR singles. First and second for Eric Kratz.
Well, it took the Brew Crew into the 4th inning to get their first base hit. Pretty good pitch right here from Morrison. One of those cut fastballs. VR does a good job just kind of fighting this one off and muscling it right over Jordy Mercer into center field.
Eric Kratz now with 2 away. A strikeout victim in the 2nd inning. Williams threw him a couple of good breaking balls to punch him out. Kratz got off to a great start with Milwaukee. He's playing in AAA with the Yankees. Brewers needed some catching help. Their young catcher, their prospect, Jacob Nottingham, injured, on the disabled list. Jet Bandy was taken off the Major League roster. He has since cleared waivers. He's still in the Brewers system. And so they needed a veteran guy to come in and back up Manny Pena, and they found it in Eric Kratz. And he had hits in his first 6 games, including 3 homers in his first 6 games.
It's one of the positions in baseball right now. You look around, and there are a lot of teams right now that are looking for help behind the plate. Still the quickest way to get to the big leagues. I know Bill Schroeder, he's on a canoe somewhere out in the lake right now, stuck out there because his paddle's broken.
Says I got a few innings in me still. Well, Kratz spent a little time here in Pittsburgh. Matter of fact, he came up with the Pirates. A guy that was grinding his way through the minor leagues. He did not get a chance in the big leagues until he was 30. Pirates gave him that chance in 2010. So now he is a week removed from his 38th birthday. 2 years ago, he was back with the Pirates. Great story and perseverance is Eric Kratz, and I know, having talked to him on a number of occasions, he was going to give up the game. He was playing in AAA. There's a lot of people think he would be an excellent manager, a coach. He started to get the questions of, you know, you'd be a great coach. When are you thinking about pursuing that? Maybe a broadcaster. He had to remind him, I'm still playing. I want to keep playing. Play as long as you can until they rip that uniform off.
You know, it's a tough thing to do, too, because you're so close. You're at AAA. You know you're a phone call away. Somebody goes down, an injury, that you're available. You have some experience. But I can't imagine it. That must be a difficult thing, that you get a taste of it at the big league level, get sent back down, and you're constantly trying to get your way back up here. And fortunately for him, he's fought his way back up to the big leagues again.
2 on with 2 away. Kratz trying to come through here, and a snap throw to first. The runners take off. Wow, the Brewers aggressively able to swipe 2 bags as Cervelli thought he had a clean pick off of VR. Instead, the 2 Brewer base runners turned the trick on him.
Well, that is some heads-up base running. Cervelli tries to go behind, to go back door. Nice play by Josh Bell to knock this one down, but heads-up base running. Both ends of that double steal.
Cervelli is a catcher that likes to back pick, throw behind runners, and I am certain the Brewers have scouted that out. And taking advantage of the aggressive throwing catcher. Now a base hit could deliver 2 runs. The Brewers knocking at the door to try to score first here tonight. 2-2 the count on the catcher, Kratz. And he misses inside. Williams was walking off the mound. He thought he had one.
And puts a little extra pressure, too, on Williams right now with runners in scoring position with a runner at third. It's the fastball right here, a little cutter just off the plate, but it puts a little extra pressure on Williams right now. If you have thoughts about throwing that 3-2 breaking ball, you really need to trust Cervelli not to throw one that gets through, and you just allow the Brewers to pick up a run on a wild pitch or a pass ball.
Williams struck out Kratz on a breaking ball last time up. See what he gives him here. Full count. And Kratz takes a called strike 3. Is unhappy with the call. And Kratz letting Larry Vanover know about it on his way out. A ring up to end the inning. The Brewers strand a pair after a walk and a single with 2 outs. Inning is over. Still scoreless in Pittsburgh. Starling Marte rolls to short, out number 1 here for Chassin. 1 pitch and 1 out. And the stylings of Jhoulys Chassin changing up his delivery, his release point. He's been effective again tonight.
The different looks of Jhoulys Chassin, we talked about deception and angles, and he has a little bit of both. So far, so good, and you can see why through going into here, he's been the Brewers' most reliable and dependable pitcher. That's that low 3/4 arm angle, induces the ground ball. And right here, I don't want to call it a quick pitch, but it abbreviated a quicker delivery towards home plate, catches Corey Dickerson off guard.
Those were the 2 pitches that resulted in the final out of innings. The double play in the 2nd, and then the fly ball to center field off Dickerson in the 3rd inning. Pirates had 3 hits, first 7 batters that Chassin faced, none since, and a swing and a miss by Colin Moran.
What's been refreshing to watch Chassin, I think, as an industry right now, Brian, we're so enamored with velocity and spin rate and forward seam fastball that we see from the outside looking in more throwers than pitchers. And I think that has to do something with the rash of injuries, the Tommy John surgeries that we've seen. No question, we're building them bigger, stronger, and faster. But I just can't see in the surgeries, and the disabled list is speaking volumes. The max effort 100% on every pitch, it's hard to last that way through an entire season, whether it's in the bullpen or making 35 starts on the mound.
1-2 the count on Moran, and he swings and misses, and Chassin picks up another strikeout. That's his 2nd. Now, one thing about today's game, we have had conversations with David Stearns, the Brewers general manager, often about this. The way that these things are being measured now, it is always going to result in any sport. If the way certain skills, certain abilities are being measured at the highest level, what you're going to have is a wave of amateur players, pitchers in this case, trying to hit those numbers. So it used to be if you could throw 90 miles an hour, that was probably a pretty good bet to get you drafted. So what happened? The AAU circuit is born trying to develop pitchers who throw hard, throw 90. I can get your kid to throw 90 miles an hour faster. That was always the biggest selling point, even back to my amateur days as a player. There's a line drive to right, and Francisco Cervelli continues his hot hitting. That's the first hit since the 2nd inning, given up by Chassin. He had retired 6 in a row, and a 2-out single by Cervelli. So the point being is, if the measuring sticks are all of these things like spin rate, like velocity, then I think kids have no choice, and the coaches of these kids basically have no choice either for their living to try to coach that kind of level and try to coach to those numbers, those markers. When you see guys like Jhoulys Chassin, who pitches not just full seasons in the major leagues, then he goes to winter ball and he pitches. There's no way Chassin can hold up essentially pitching year-round as he does. He probably takes in all about 6 weeks off from pitching. No way he's going to be able to pitch that way. He's almost like a marathon runner, where you have to find those mechanics. You have to be a pitcher.
And I think what makes it tough is for parents of young teens that are either in high school or junior high. And as an industry now, baseball, we want to know what by the time a guy's 14, is he going to be left field, right field? What does he profile? Is he a pitcher? Is he right-handed? Is he left-handed? And I think parents are under a lot of pressure to play on these AAU teams and these travel teams. And this is how your son's going to get a scholarship to go to these showcase games, and they're looking for velocity. And as I touched on, they're building them bigger, faster, and stronger, but I don't necessarily think better pitchers.
And it really shows up when young pitchers make it to the big leagues. Hot ground ball by Bell ends up in the glove of VR, and Chassin keeps it rolling. 4 shutout for Jhoulys Chassin. We are scoreless in Pittsburgh going to the 5th.
and the Pirates as we head to the top of the 5th. Time now for our UW Whitewater minor league scouting report. The newly acquired Brad Miller picked up in a trade with the Rays back on June 10th for G-Man Choi. You see his offensive numbers right there with the Sky Sox, but guys, look, we know what he can do offensively. This is a guy who hit 30 home runs just a few seasons ago, but when you talk about Brad Miller, it's his defense that worries you. He had 53 errors at the shortstop position, which is what he's been playing with the Sky Sox since making his major league debut back in 2013, has already committed 3 errors at that position in Colorado Springs. So when you talk about Brad Miller, you know you're getting a left-hand power bat, but it's always going to be the errors that you are concerned about with a guy like him. In his defense, he has dealt with some injuries and hasn't played the position in about a year and a half, but that's your concern with Brad Miller.
All right, Dario, thanks. Arcia will lead the way here as Williams is back on the mound. Brad Miller, 2 years removed from a 30-homer season with the Tampa Bay Rays.
81 RBIs in that season also. Listen, there are a lot of players in the big leagues playing right now. If they hit, you can find a place and you can overlook some of the deficiencies that they may have with a glove.
So as Arcia leads off here in the 5th inning, Arcia certainly understanding of his position, knowing the Brewers have tried to fill in or backfill with shortstop play, and Miller, who has not played a lot of shortstop this year but is playing short a lot in AAA. Arcia flies to right. Polanco puts it away for out number 1.
You know, in the day and age now where there's so much shifting going on in baseball too, that I think when you're looking at a traditional player right now, you're not looking for like a Paul Mauer or a Robin Yount, a Jim Gantner. If you play third base, the way the defenses are shifting, you have to be able to play a little bit of shortstop. If you're in second base, playing in that shift, you have to have some arm strength. So I think right now that there are ways that you can get around a guy that maybe has some deficiencies in his game to put him defensively in a spot where you don't expose him quite as much.
Yoeli Chacín here with 1 away. He drew a walk his last time up. Well, the Brewers have been a much improved defensive team. Chacín, a little pop up in the infield. That's going to be Bell to make the call. We heard this offseason as the Brewers were not really in on some of the bigger name pitchers, the free agent pitchers. You heard the Brewers mentioned in the Yu Darvish sweepstakes or maybe Jake Arrieta, but it never really felt like it was close. Chacín was a little bit of an under the radar move for the Brewers, and one thing we heard consistently from the Milwaukee front office is that we are going to have a much improved defense, adding Lorenzo Cain, who's a potential Gold Glove outfielder. You've already got a Gold Glove outfielder in Christian Yelich. He's already won 1. And then the play of Arcia. Shaw's an excellent third baseman. So the improved defense is going to help our pitching staff, which I think philosophically makes sense. But because of the shifts, and the Brewers are a team that does shift a lot, it is imperative to have players who can be comfortable in a lot of different positions out there, and the Brewers certainly do. They have so many qualified shortstops on their roster who are playing shortstop on any given day. Perez, VR, Arcia, Sogard, all shortstops by trade, and that's by design. Cain, a close shave, up and in. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Lorenzo Cain. 2 outs in the inning. Brewers put up a threat with 2 outs last inning with a walk and a hit. Yikes. Trevor Williams has 4 Ks. He's given up 2 walks and he's hit a batter. He's only given up the 1 hit. Cain, an excellent 2-strike hitter. 2-2. Got him. Powered him up. Back upstairs goes Williams. He's found a sweet spot up there tonight. And it's a 3-up, 3-down inning with a strikeout. in the ballpark tonight. A lot of Brewers fans traveling from Milwaukee to Pittsburgh. That is usually the case. Now time for our Lowe's whole team together. Brewers are third in the National League in team ERA this season. The Cubs are the National League leaders. Nationals are second, and then the Brewers at 3.50. And that bullpen ERA still spectacular, but the starters have really pitched well. That homestand with Chacin included, putting up some fantastic numbers. It was a stretch of 4 consecutive starts for the Brewers. In this case, 1 pass through the starting rotation, operating in a 4-man rotation where the starters only gave up 2 earned runs in 26 innings. Chacin went 6 shutout against the Cubs his last time out. He's fallen behind Gregory Polanco to start the 5th inning. Polanco had a base hit back in the 2nd. He singled to right. Pittsburgh with 4 hits in the game, all of them singles, and now Polanco ahead 3-0. Chacin down at the bottom of his order with Polanco, Mercer, and then the pitcher spot. Lost him on 4 straight.
A little bit uncharacteristic. Jolene has been really good tonight. He's been really impressive. Has had all 4 of his pitches in mix, moved his fastball around the plate, up, down, in and out. Breaking ball at times has been really good. Hopefully he can induce Jody Mercer in the 2nd inning, hit into a 4-6-3 inning double play, and certainly keep his pitch count down right now. Double play, a ground ball here would certainly do the trick.
This has been one of Clint Hurdle's favorites over the years in his time as manager of the Pirates. Mercer brings that power threat to the 8th spot in the batting order.
You know, when you watch him, I think the first comparable, that he reminds me of a former Brewers shortstop, J.J. Hardy. Not a prototypical. You don't look at his body type and translate to say, yeah, that's a shortstop at the big league level, but a lot like J.J. Hardy, has some pop in his bat, makes the routine play, and basically that's what you're hoping for from your shortstop. Make the plays that you're supposed to make in the day and age where the long ball.
Polanco takes off. The pitch is upstairs. The throw to second is late. VR thinks he got the tag on him. He's asking Craig Counsell to take a look at this replay. It was a high tag. Polanco goes in feet first. And the Brewers want to have a look, so the Pirates staying out of the double play opportunity, sending Polanco.
You almost have to think right there that he had an idea that a breaking ball was going and picked a good pitch to run on.
Yeah, Craig Counsell is going to ask for a review here. I think when he pops up off the bag, his foot is not on the bag, it's on VR's foot. And this could be one that gets overturned here. So right there, there's nothing touching the base of Polanco with the tag of VR on his back. Well, VR was right. He put that foot right in there.
This is one of the tough plays, and I get it, to keep up with the other sports when football brought in instant replay. This is one of those plays that at times I have a difficult time with, Brian. It's a technicality. You clearly beat the throw. Was the foot between the bag?
By the way, Dan, are you noticing the 2 fans with the fake headsets on behind the umpires?
Oh,
Total playing up the review here. That is all a bit. Flipping a coin. Oh, what's that say? Safe.
Safe.
Oh, I get it. So the results are in.
They're wrong.
Chelsea.
Did you see the reaction when the guy with the sign was like, no.
And the call is overturned. I give
That's
him
a great, you know, I
high
love
points
this.
for creativity right there, man.
You know,
That
I'm
was
going to take
beautiful.
back what I was saying before, Brian. This is one of the best things in replay in baseball right now.
You don't get comedy like that from the fans.
Look at those 2 guys.
Got their headsets. They're not plugged into anything. They're just to mock the umpires. Well done, gentlemen. All right, so that's a big out for the Brewers. And give VR some credit. He stuck his foot right in there. Polanco pops up off the bag, and he is out. Caught stealing. 2-0 is the count. Chacin has not thrown a strike in this inning. And make it 7 consecutive balls. Got him shaking his head a little bit. Now, I know what you're saying, though. The popping up off the bag, it's difficult for base runners to come in there clean when you're going at that kind of speed. Something that has been a part of the game forever and probably not the original design of replay in Major League Baseball. However, in defense of the MLB replay system, you can't be subjective in that kind of play. As Mercer grounds to short, here's Arcia. One shortstop takes care of the other. 2 men are out. So it's either you're safe or you're out, and I think baseball is just telling the players, make the adjustment. You're going to have to find a way to stay on the bag.
You know, this is clearly Polanco beats this throw. You can watch that left foot. It comes off the bag, and the right foot you can see is right there between Jonathan VR. So clearly lost contact of second base.
And VR has been a guy in the past, up until the last couple of years when it really started to matter, was a pop tagger, right? He would slap the tag on, show the umpire, which just about every infielder worth his salt in the history of baseball has been taught to do. You're trying to sell that call. But these days in the big leagues with replay, you've got to keep that tag on. Can't try for a quick tag, or a lot of infielders would try to steal it out, tag the ground. Any kind of contact, but now we can see all of that. So the whole game is changing, and players over the last few years are starting to adjust a great deal.
And the two guys behind home plate were wrong too. Those have to be former relievers. Nobody in their right mind, Brian, comes to a game with a dead mic, right? These two guys right here, we're going to call them Laurel and Hardy. What grown men come to a ballpark with a microphone that isn't hooked up?
And a safe sign. Genius. That'll be seen all over the place. Good job, boys. Good thing you were wrong, but you gave us some laughs. That turns into a 3-batter inning. Ascension, coming together to give healthcare a better name. We are Ascension. And by Wisconsin Dells, the water park capital of the world. Gorgeous night in Pittsburgh, PA. Game 1 of this 3-game series. Don't forget, you can start your day with First Things First. And then tomorrow on FS1 and Fox, You have the World Cup. Colombia and Japan, 6 a.m. Central. Poland and Senegal on Fox. And then Russia against Egypt. My guy Mo Salah for Egypt. FIFA World Cup Tuesday on Fox and FS1. You can stream it all live on the Fox Sports app. Mo Salah plays for Liverpool. I am a new fan of the Reds of Liverpool.
That's your ball club.
That's my team now.
That's your team.
Having not followed football all these years, I'm all in. You'd like Mo Salah. He's got a shoulder injury now, but anyway. Brian Anderson with Dan Plesac, Dario Melendez, the Brewers and the Pirates hooked up in a pitcher's duel. Christian Yelich leads off. He'll be followed by Ryan Braun, then Eric Thames.
Well, if you believe in this day and age in 2018, third time through the order, pitchers have a lot more difficulty. Brew Crew may be in business here as we go to the top of the 6th.
Trevor Williams pitching a one-hit shutout, has 5 strikeouts, 2 walks and a hit batter as Yelich takes a ball. Yelich came in batting .297. He is 0 for 2 tonight. Williams struck him out in the first, and then he bounced to the mound in the third. And a wave and a miss and another K for Williams. Strikeout number 6.
Pretty good pitch right there. Little changeup action. He had thrown a couple of pitches in that sequence. Brian on the inner half of the plate, making aware of the ball in, and fades one right here. This is a really good pitch, almost like a little bit of a changeup. 83 miles an hour in and out of the zone. Good pitch.
Yelich strikes out twice in this matchup with Williams already. And here is Ryan Braun now. I'm sure the Pirates are satisfied with Williams tonight. There's been a lot of talk in the Pittsburgh sports talk show circuit and in the newspapers that Clint Hurdle is sticking with Williams too long. There is a talented minor league pitcher in AAA having a good year, and columnist in the Pittsburgh newspaper today, I think it was actually yesterday, was pointing out the fact, giving the numbers, not really going out on a limb to say they should make the change, but certainly presenting it as such from a fan Q&A, and I'm sure fans are asking all kinds of questions, but this particular writer was pretty quick to lock in on the Trevor Williams in the starting rotation question, and the Pirates were quick to answer that they are sticking with this pitcher and they believe in him, and he is delivering tonight. This is the way he pitched in the first month of the season for the Pirates. No balls and 2 strikes on Braun. He's 0 for 2 tonight. This is inside.
Last couple of starts not able to get to the 4th inning. It shows you how much confidence, we talked about it earlier, Brian, plays an important part of being onto that mound. He finds himself out in the 6th inning. Big strikeout of Yelich to start the inning. He's been much more in that attack mode, consistently pounding the strike zone.
Goes up in the strike zone against Braun, who fouls it away.
Boy, we're up here quite high. Have you ever gotten a foul ball up here in this
No
booth?
chance, never. We are higher than just about anything else. We got a great view of downtown, but we are a million miles from the playing surface. One-two pitch, and Braun strikes out. Williams comes back to the fastball. And strikeout number 7. He has 3 consecutive strikeouts going back to last inning. Kane, Yelich, and Braun have all gone down swinging.
That last pitch to Ryan Braun, some good sinking action. 2-seam fastball. Has 2 fastballs and 4-seamer. This is a good look at that 2-seamer right here. In the zone, in out of the zone quick, 90 miles an hour. Kind of a right-hand turn signal. Terrific pitch.
Here is Eric Thames now. The Brewers looking for a quick strike. Thames has the home run stroke going. This is a big ballpark made for pitching, but left-handed hitters can't exploit that right field. It is a short porch out there in right. And Thames, a wave and a miss, a ball and a strike. Thames is on the Powerball home run leaderboard despite missing 41 games with the ligament tear in the thumb. Travis Shaw tops that list, 14, then Aguilar, who hit one yesterday. Thames pops it up. Back in the grass is, and coming again is Marte, actually, and he'll make the play to end the inning. F8, 1-2-3 inning. Brewers come up empty again.
Military by sharing a photo or video with hashtag #HatsOffForHeroes. For each post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans.
We are back in Pittsburgh. The Brewers and the Pirates hooked up in a dandy tonight. The Brewers have just one hit. That was a Jonathan VR two-out single. Jolie Chassin has zeros on the board. The Pirates have 4 hits in this game. Chassin back to work. He will head back to the top of the order in Josh Harrison. Third time through the batting order now as we play in the 6th inning for Chassin. On the ground foul. Harrison tonight has one of the 4 Pittsburgh hits. That was a single in the 1st inning. That's how the Pirates got started offensively. Chassin has been efficient despite starting last inning with 7 consecutive balls. He was able to get through the inning, only 3 batters. There's that quick release by Chassin.
I like that quick release, not quick pitch, right, Brian?
Quick pitch is illegal, Dan, and a show on MLB Network.
Great sequence of pitching. There it is right here. Abbreviated delivery. And what it does, it makes a hitter like Josh Harrison react quickly.
0-2 pitch. Harrison in the air to left field right at Braun for the out. And one away for Jolie Chassin. A night for the pitcher tonight when Dan Plesac joins the broadcast.
You know what? Terrific sequence of the pitching that last at bat by Jolie Chassin, too. In, out, up, and down. Good breaking ball away. Off the end of the bat, a semi-line drive out to left field, but really a kind of a Cliff Notes version of why Jolie's is 6-1 on the year, Brian. Terrific command of the strike zone, except for the 5th inning. Worked around a couple of 3-ball counts. He's been great. Fastball command has been there. Breaking ball command. He's flipped a couple of those split changeups. He's been impressive. Easy to see why he's been the Brew Crew's most effective starter up to this point.
Corey Dickerson now for the Pirates. The sequence to Harrison, Dan.
This is a terrific sequence. First pitch breaking ball that he throws for a strike, and then here the out pitch, the breaking ball that's away. You see Chassin kind of looking at Harrison like, wow, how'd you even put lumber on that one? A terrific pitch.
Dickerson sends one high in the air. Braun and Kane converge. Braun wants it. And another out in the air for the Pirates. 2 up and 2 down for Jolice Chassin.
Making it look really easy. When you see a lot of front foot hitters out on front like Dickerson was on that last pitch, he's thrown just enough fastballs, Brian, to make them aware that 92, 93 mile an hour fastball, four-seamer, the good sinker. He's mixed in the breaking ball. He's throwing it for strikes. Good kind of bounce back inning. It looked like he was wavering a little bit there in the 5th, but boy, he's been rock solid here back in the 6th inning.
I tell you, that caught stealing is proving to be a big play in this game. Think about it. The Pirates get their lead man on last inning on a 4-pitch walk, and then Mercer got ahead in the count 1-0, and then Polanco tries to steal second base. He pops up off the bag. So you're looking at, as it was called on the field, a runner at second and Mercer ahead in the count. Instead, Chassin got the call. It was overturned, and he is rolling along here. A 3 up, 3 down 6th inning. Retires the top of the order in order. There is going to be a lot of cold ones won on the trivia machine after this one. How about that? So he collects a home run in a game that was scheduled before he was even called up. Go figure. Sounds like a Jeopardy question.
He had a big 2-home-run game last week. He hit one to left field, and then he hit one over the bullpen at right center field.
Hernan Perez lines one to right, and Williams continues to lock down the Brewers. Working on a 1-hit shutout. By the way, the Nationals made a trade with the Kansas City Royals. Kelvin Herrera going to the Nationals, their closer. And they get 3 in return. Herrera has been lights out this year. He's only given up 3 earned runs all season for the Royals. Now bolsters that Washington pen.
Begs the question, Brian, is Mike Moustakas the next one that will be moved by the Kansas City Royals? Have gotten off to a slow start. Be interesting to see what the Royals do. I'm sure there'll be a lot of teams interested in Mike Moustakas at the trade deadline.
Think about third baseman that could be available for this trade deadline. Moustakas would probably be the most reliable of the third baseman that would be available. Talking about guys like Josh Donaldson. And I guess you could put Manny Machado in that group, even though he's a shortstop now. VR lines out. VR has the only hit for the Brewers. He hit that one right on the button, but right at the shortstop Mercer, and 2 men are gone despite 2 line drives from Perez and VR.
As you touched on, Trevor Williams rolling. This was the guy that the Buccos anticipated the month of April off to a flying start. His last handful of games have not been so good. 1 hit allowed so far as we're 2 outs into the 7th inning.
Here is Eric Kratz. Kratz had the best opportunity to drive in some runs. He was batting with 2 outs and runners at second and third back in the 4th inning. Worked it into a full count, and then Williams hit the bottom of the strike zone and struck him out looking. Kratz took exception to the call. He thought it was low, but Williams has been hovering around the strike zone all night tonight. He has been excellent. Chassin has matched him with zeros, though. Feels like a game where 1 swing of the bat will determine the outcome as we get into the late innings.
And I think you'll always feel, with the depth that the Brewers have in their bullpen, particularly with Jeffers, Hader, and Knebel, that you get into a battle of 8th, 9th inning bullpen. My opinion, looking from the outside looking in, the Brewers bullpen second, and that's what you see a trade like the Nationals picking up a guy like Herrera. If you're a fan of the Brewers, you're like, well, okay, but it's a great thing when you have a lockdown bullpen like the Brewers do, that you're not searching for that guy in the 9th.
Nice play by Harrison on the backhand, and he makes a play to get the out. Takes a hit away from Kratz. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Williams. It is stretch time in Pittsburgh.
Johnson and Miller Lite.
Read it again. Read this part again right here.
Miller Lite beer pen.
That's
what did I say? Bullpen? It's the same thing.
To be expected.
Yes.
There's a big difference between the bullpen and the beer pen.
You think Rock has been to this place?
Of course.
The welcome mat?
He's probably there right now.
He's a nature guy. That's right down the road from the Lowe's Creek County Park.
Nice.
I can see Brock with his binocs like bird watching, right? Canoe it during the day.
It's a line drive base hit. Colin Moran starts the inning with a single. And the first hit for the Pirates since the 4th inning. You done a little Eau Claire tourist action, have you there, Dan?
No, I've actually been to Eau Claire when the Brewers toured, like in the winter caravan.
Yeah.
I'm kind of dating myself, but been to Eau Claire several times.
A winter caravan in Eau Claire comes with some challenges.
It does. Boy, you get on that bus and it's like 0. You're driving up to Oshkosh and Madison, and the PR department's telling you they can't wait to see you, and you get to eat that rubber chicken and talk Brewers baseball in January, right?
Enormous reaction in season tickets after a Plesac
right, you walk
caravan
in,
appearance.
So happy to be in Eau Claire. It's 18 below. Right?
They're all glad to have you there. We're glad to have you here tonight. Jhoulys Chacín is trying to match Trevor Williams. Pirates have 5 hits now. The Brewers have just 1. And now Francisco Cervelli, who has 2 of the 5 Pittsburgh hits. Cervelli is having a tremendous season. Not only is he throwing out base runners above 30%, he's hitting well, he's driving in runs, he has 9 homers this year. But he is a perfect double play candidate for Jhoulys Chacín, trying to get one on the ground. And he misses down and in.
Boy, talk about a career change from a guy that was a part-time player, and there he is. You're getting a look at might be the best weapon, left-handed weapon in the bullpen right now with Josh Hader. Strikeouts per 9 off the charts.
Lee Tunnell, the bullpen coach, not the beer pen coach, the bullpen coach. Getting the game plan from bench coach Pat Murphy.
Hopefully I'll be able to read that spot again tomorrow.
Oh, you're
am I the next 2 nights?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's not something
okay.
that a play-by-play guy even has a chance to read. That's way off the contract.
Beer pen, not bullpen.
Actually, if we'd have been forward thinking, we'd have had Rock record those for the next 3 nights. It's kind of his thing. But I think you fit well. It was almost flawless. Gives you something to strive for tomorrow. Runner goes, pitches inside. Kratz's throw is on the money. And out at second base, the second caught stealing of the night for Erik Kratz. Cuts down Colin Moran. I feel like that was more of the hit and run variety than the straight steal. Moran had no chance.
Well, you would have to think right there. I get it. It's a tailing fastball that's riding in up on Francisco Cervelli. You see him kind of peek in, so that would lead you to believe that it was a hit and run. Terrific catch and throw right here. You see the look in. So if you're straight stealing, there's a pretty good chance straight steal. You're not looking into home plate.
Well, it turns out to be a big out because now Cervelli has walked. And Chacín, with 1 out, has a base runner at first. 2 huge caught stealing moments in this game for Milwaukee. One of them on an overturned call. Counsell's going to send his entire infield and his catcher to the mound. He's trying to buy a little time here. Josh Bell, the switch hitter, is coming up for the Pirates. See how long the rope is for Chacín.
Boy, in a perfect world, you'd love to see him get out of this. You flip the lineup over. Arcia will be leading off the next inning. I'm sure Craig Counsell would love to try to let him get through this inning without having to try to double switch or just have Hader available for a hitter or two, because his spot will come up in the next inning.
So Counsell laying out the plan there with Lee Tunnell, the bullpen coach, and he is going to let it ride with Chacín. You got Polanco due next. Josh Bell, the switch hitter, at the plate. 2 struggling hitters, but they have been premier hitters in this lineup. There's the bouncing ball, and it is by VR into center field. On his way to third goes Cervelli. Another foot or 2, and that's got a chance to be a double play to end the inning. Instead, the Pirates are now knocking at the door with runners at the corners.
Now you're really in a dilemma if you're Craig Counsell. You have a guy warming up in the bullpen and Josh Hader. Not a bad pitch right here. A little bit up in the zone fastball. Just past the diving Jonathan VR into center field. Pirates in business here, first and third with 1 out.
And the move is going to be made here. Craig Counsell with a fully loaded bullpen. He hasn't used Hader and Jeffress much. They have not pitched since last Wednesday, and he is going to go into that A grouping of relievers right now with Polanco coming up. And it'll be the end of the line for Chacín. Pitched another beautiful ball game here tonight, and he will exit in a Scoreless game at PNC Park in Pittsburgh. Pitching change will set up Hader when we continue. With an all-new franchise mode in RBI Baseball 18. Rated E for everyone. RBI Baseball puts you in control of all the action. Learn more at rbigame.com. Double switch for Craig Counsell. Josh Hader is on to face Gregory Polanco. The Pirates, Dan, have runners at the corners and one away.
Here he is, the man of the hour. I think the most impressive left-handed weapon in baseball right now. That's not a graphical error. 75 strikeouts, 15 walks, ERA 1.18. Initially, when you watch him, two pitchers comparable to me. He has a little bit of Chris Sale, that low three-quarter delivery, and Randy Johnson. Absolute nightmare against left-handed hitters. How about hitters in general? 0.98 batted average against.
Hader will have his hands full here with two inherited runners. The other end of the double switch is Sogard, who comes in to play second base and trying to get multiple innings out of Josh Hader. Put the pitcher in VR spot, Hader. Sogard will hit second next inning. Big at-bat coming up as Polanco takes strike one.
And as much as Polanco has struggled coming into tonight's action, hitting .211 on the year, getting a chance to have an AB against Josh Hader, I'm sure a lot of doubts going into his mind right now, just trying to put the ball in play, contact.
Left-handers have just 3 hits all year against Hader. First and third, one away, and a swing and a miss. 94 with the fastball. Upstairs it goes. And it's 0-2 on Polanco.
You know, the few times that I've had a chance to watch Hader, I think if he's getting the breaking ball over early on, he's almost unhittable. If he has both the fastball and the breaking ball that he's able to establish, it's lights out, because you can't cover both as a hitter.
0-2 pitch. Fastball. Got him. Polanco strikes out. Hader sticks with the high cheese. And out number 2 on a punch out from Hader.
Well, what set that pitch up was the first pitch breaking ball. Four-seam fastball that he rides up in the strike zone right here. You're talking about spin rate and carry. It's 94, but when you watch the ball come out of his hand, Brian, it appears like it's 98 to 100 miles an hour. Long, lanky delivery, throws across his body. Just that right now, he's as good as anybody in the game of baseball.
Trending towards 18 strikeouts per 9. That is the best among relievers in the National League. First and third, 2 men are out. And a strike in there on Jordy Mercer.
I think the 2 most dominant left-handed relief pitchers in the game right now, you're looking at one in Josh Hader and Aroldis Chapman from the Yankees are the 2 guys that come to mind to me right now, that when they bring their A game, and it looks like Josh has brought the breaking ball and the fastball, he's nearly impossible to make contact off.
Mercer down the line, fair. Cervelli is in. On his way to third goes Bell, and it's an RBI double for Jordy Mercer. And the Pirates score off Josh Hader. 1-0 Pittsburgh.
sometimes you have to give credit to a hitter right there. That wasn't a bad fastball that was on the inner half of the plate. He doubled up first pitch fastball and came right back with it on the inner part of the plate. And he's just able to keep this one fair. Another fastball up in the zone. Good piece of hitting to keep his hands in. 94 miles an hour and just between the bag and third base.
Perez was playing off the bag at third. The last thing the Brewers are expecting a right-handed hitter to do is to pull Josh Hader down the line. Mercer comes through, though, a big hit. David Freese will pinch hit for Trevor Williams. So the Pittsburgh starter goes 7 shutout innings, matching his career best. Had 7 shutout innings back on May 15th against the White Sox. And he is now in the winner's circle if the Pirates hang on. Freese pinch hitting, 2 outs, second and third. This is a big batter for Hader as Freese takes a ball. 2-0 the count.
Good look at Chassin right there. I know he's a little bit disappointed. That run that scored is his responsibility, but 6 1/3, a really terrific baseball tonight.
Right now, 1 earned run allowed. First inherited runner Josh Hader has allowed to score this season. 2-1 to Freese.
We've seen that a little bit tonight from home plate Larry Vanover. That high strike zone, that high strike was called right there. A 2-0 pitch with David Freese. That's a nearly impossible pitch to do anything with unless you're a really good high fastball hitter.
Freese likes to go the other way when he's at his best. He's trying to get his arms extended. The Brewers look like they're trying to pound him in. 2 balls and a strike. And a low fastball misses. 3-1 now to Freese. He's been an excellent pinch hitter for Clint Hurdle. Freese has lost the everyday job for now to Colin Moran. Hitting over 300 off the bench. Has 6 pinch hits this season. Counsell goes with his best reliever, but Jordy Mercer with an RBI double. Freese takes a ball. And now the bases are loaded. Hader struck out his first batter, faced Polanco, but a double and a walk, and now they are loaded up back to the top of the order in Harrison. And Derek Johnson is on his way to the mound.
You know, at times, Brian, from being out there, you get into a situation like that, you give up that big base hit to Jordy Mercer, and you come in out of that bullpen and your heart's pumping and you've got this adrenaline going. You get the big strikeout of Polanco, and not to say that you feel like you're going to be able to get out of the inning. First pitch strike to Mercer, then he pulls the ball down the line. It's kind of like the air comes out of the balloon, and this is more of a talk not necessarily about game planning, but just to let him kind of regroup. And it's such a it's the emotional roller coaster that you go through coming in out of the bullpen. You're anticipating for 7 innings coming into a game. You come into a tie game. You certainly want to pick up Chassin, who was terrific for 6 1/3. You give up the base hit, the go-ahead run, and it's almost like you have to talk yourself back into getting back into that groove again, and it's not an easy thing to do.
Well, Hader rarely comes into innings with men on base. Normally he starts innings when the Brewers have the lead. Counsell took a shot to get him in there with the bottom of the lineup coming up. Matter of fact, he'd only had 5 inherited base runners all year. He just gave up his first. So the bases are loaded up now with 2 outs. Back to the top of the order in Harrison, who is a very good fastball hitter. And that one's down and in. What a play by Kratz to save a run. I'm not sure how it missed Harrison, but Kratz, that big body catcher, able to get out and block one.
This is another look at it right here. Breaking ball that he pulls into the ground. Great job there. Almost like a hockey goalie, that little glove save.
It's like hitting a home run for a catcher. That saves one for now.
You know, you go back to the beginning of this inning and you try to look at one key at bat. the caught stealing, then the walk of Cervelli is really kind of what you look back at this inning right now for the Pirates. You catch a break on a caught stealing, and then the walk to Cervelli kind of set things up for this inning for the Pirates.
There's only been one out recorded at the plate. That was the strikeout of Polanco. Pirates have 3 hits and 2 walks in this inning. They have scratched the first run across in the bottom of the 7th. 1-0 Pittsburgh. Bases loaded, 2 away. Hader in a 1-1 count against Josh Harrison, who's 1 out of 3 tonight. Hit the ball sharply his last time up, lined out. Hader deals, Harrison late, fouls it back, and it's 1-2.
You wonder with a man on third right now if Josh is a little reluctant to go to that breaking ball. The first pitch was a great save by Kratz from a wild pitch. If you want to throw the breaking ball right here, it's probably the pitch to go to. You have to have a lot of confidence that Eric Kratz will be able to, if you execute it, a breaking ball that's down and in towards that back foot of Josh Harrison.
Looking ahead to the Brewer 8th inning, it'll be Arcius, Sogard, and then Kane. 8, 9, and 1 coming up. Hader's got a handful here. Bases loaded, the 1-2 pitch down, and Kratz able to block that one. That one looked like a changeup.
That
Hader.
almost looked like it was a little bit of a cross-up too, because if you'll, hopefully we'll get another look at it. I think he was anticipating a fastball away. Watch his reaction to this, that being Kratz. He's like looking for the ball away and almost he backhanded this pitch, where if that was a breaking ball that he was anticipating, he would have shifted his body over, Brian, and be able to knock that down and catch it with the glove facing instead of the backhand snag.
Well, it was a slider, but it was spiked into the ground. Another terrific play by Kratz. And now the count 2-2. You know Harrison is looking for the fastball. 2-2 on the way. Fastball misses inside. Now it is full, and now it is traveling time for the 3 runners on. This could be the ball game right here. The Brewers needed one anyway to win this game. Down 1-0. Bell, Mercer, and Freese will be off with the pitch. Full count, 2 outs. Pirates leadoff hitter at the plate, and Harrison, as he does often in 3-2 counts, calls timeout. His version of icing the kicker. Hader's got to make a big pitch. Runners go. Hader deals, and a called strike 3. A delayed call by Larry Vanover, but Harrison is rung up. Hader put it in the perfect spot, and the Pirates strand the bases loaded. A run is in, but Hader delivers when it counts. Give a big mark to Eric Kratz there as well. He saved a couple of runs. 96 calories. And by Toyota. Let's go places.
Brewers trail the Pirates 1-0 as we head to the top of the 8th here in Pittsburgh. Time now for our crew in the community. Join Brewers pitcher Jeremy Jeffress and teammates for the Brewers Bowl-a-thon on Sunday, August 5th. Enjoy a silent auction and, of course, bowling with the Brewers players of your choice while raising money for children and families living with epilepsy. To register, visit brewers.com/bowling or call 414-902-4581.
All right, Dario, thanks. Here we go to the Brewer half of the 8th. Now the Pirates have a 1-0 lead. And the hard-throwing Kyle Crick is out of the Clint Hurdle bullpen. Jesus Aguilar will pinch hit for Milwaukee. So Arcia lifted. And Aguilar, who has plenty of power to tie this game up with one swing, will face Kyle Crick.
Big fastball, 95 to 98 miles an hour. That first pitch, 97. Got a good look at the breaking ball right there. Fastball slider guy. It's been pretty good against right-handers. They're hitting 184 on the season, 9 for 49. So his specialty getting the righties out.
Well, this is a spot I'm sure Craig Counsell would like to use Travis Shaw, but he is out with a right wrist injury. They might try to get a couple of days out of Shaw to see if that wrist will recover without putting him on the DL. So playing a man short on the bench. Aguilar rolls over 1 to third, backhanded by Moran. Long throw is perfect, and Aguilar is out. One gone here in the 8th inning. Pittsburgh pitching has now retired 11 consecutive Brewers. Can't say enough about the effort of Trevor Williams. He was starting to feel the heat playing here in the big leagues, and coming off 5 really poor starts. He answered with his best start as a major leaguer here tonight. 7 shutout innings, only 1 hit.
Yeah, he was good, Brian. 96 total pitches, 61 for strikes, 14 of 25 first pitch strikes. It was more the version of the Trevor Williams that the Pirates saw in the month of April. He was really good tonight.
Only hit for Milwaukee came in the 4th inning. Jonathan Villar had a single. The Brewers had 2 on in that 4th inning with 2 outs. Sogard right off the pitcher Crick, and Sogard on his way to first. The throw is in time. What a play by Josh Harrison. Started, then stopped, changed directions, and able to make a play to get Sogard. Well, the athleticism of Josh Harrison showing up in a big way on that one.
Terrific play right here. Deflected off of the glove of Crick, and he does a great job right here. Changes direction, one hand underarm flip, and a nice play by Josh Bell, and a head first slide by Sogard. I think the deflection might have helped right there, and a terrific play on both ends.
That's a second baseman that has played a lot of third base in his career, and he looked like a third baseman on the barehanded pickup. Excellent play by Harrison. 2 outs now. Top of the order, Lorenzo Cain. Brewers are running out of outs here tonight. Only 4 outs remain. But they are back at the top of the order. If Cain can reach, Yelich would follow. Crick just pouring that fastball in. One ball, one strike on Cain. He is 0 for 3 tonight. Nasty breaking ball.
Tough combo right there. Back-to-back pitches. 97-mile-an-hour fastball with some life on it. Backs it up with a good 84-mile-an-hour breaking ball.
1-2, quick release, and Cain strikes out. Kyle Crick, impressive. 1-2-3 inning. The Brewers go in order again. Still 1-0 Pirates. in this game. You get 9 runs yesterday, come up a run short. And tonight, the Pirates are shutting out the Brewers 1-0. Jacob Barnes will be next out of the bullpen for Craig Counsell.
Another big arm for the Brewers, and there's more to this bullpen than Jeffress, Hader, and Knebel. He's off to a flying start. Look at that ERA, 1.98. Big fastball, 97, 98 miles an hour. Good hard cutter and a slider to go along with it. Good 3-pitch mix.
So Jacob Barnes will face Corey Dickerson, Starling Marte, then Colin Moran. 2, 3, and 4 in this Pittsburgh batting order. On the first pitch, a ground ball to short. Sogard's over there now. He makes a play for the out. Remember, Arcia was pinch hit for. Aguilar, who pinch hit for Arcia, stays in the game at third base. The biggest third baseman in the history of baseball. Those are the changes for the Brewers. Perez slides over to second. 1 pitch and 1 out for Barnes. He's trying to get the Brewers back to the dugout in the 9th, only down a run. The Brewers will be right in the heart of their order in the 9th inning. 2, 3, and 4 scheduled to hit. Yelich, Braun, and Thames coming up. Starling Marte. Everything Barnes throws moves away from a right-handed hitter. Even his big fastball, just the way it comes out of his hand. He was a football player coming up. And it's almost like that natural spiral that you would throw a football, the release of a spiral, and everything has that cutting action to it.
You know, at first when you look at, often you talk about a comparable guy. When I've seen a couple of times I've seen him, Brian, he reminds me of former Rangers and Yankee pitcher John Wetland. Everything kind of moves and cuts, kind of a compact, stocky built guy. Ball really explodes out of his hand really well.
Fly ball into right field. Yelich has a beat on it. Took the bat right out of his hands. 2 gone in the inning. Well, the Brewers are playing here in Pittsburgh for just 3 nights, right back to Miller Park starting Thursday. And the Brewers and the Cardinals will start a 4-game series. June 21st through Sunday, June 24th. Check out the full promotional schedule, which includes 2 big gate giveaways and a Pride theme night. That's all coming up at Miller Park. You can check it all out at Brewers.com. Hopefully you'll make plans to join us. Got to pack the park against the Cardinals. Cardinals beat the Cubs last night, keeping the Brewers in first place by a half game over the Chicago Cubs. That will be a key series in a 4-gamer. The Cardinals are playing tonight in Philadelphia. They are down 4-2 going into the 8th inning. Cubs are home tonight. They're in a delay, though, against the Dodgers. Not sure if they're going to be able to get that one started or not. They have not started yet. Dodgers at Cubs. Maeda against Chatwood in that one are the scheduled pitchers. Pirates got a run in the 7th inning. It was an RBI double off the bat of Jordy Mercer. 2-out RBI double down the line against Josh Hader. Hader had a big strikeout of Harrison with the bases loaded, keeping the Brewers within a run. Brewers have always had a difficult time in Pittsburgh when you consider you're a home run hitting team. They don't come easily here. Thames way over, tough throw, and he hits Barnes on the money on the cover. Nice play by Eric Thames, and the side is retired. Barnes holds serve. The Brewers' last call. Yelich, Braun, and Thames coming up. Freddie Peralta is back for the Brewers. It'll be his third big league start. He'll match up against Jamison Tyone, power right-hander of the Pittsburgh Pirates. So you're going to get a look at the future, perhaps, of the Central Division. Tyone against Peralta. Tomorrow we're on the air at 5:30. Dan Plesac will be back with us, I think.
I'll be here.
You're enjoying yourself,
I'm going to read
you?
the promo better tomorrow, too. I'm going to go home tonight. Hopefully I'll get a copy of that promo. I'm going to make sure that it is the beer pen and not the bullpen. Talking about Freddie Peralta, I happened to watch that game. How about making your debut at Coors Field? 13 strikeouts.
Setting a Brewers franchise record in a debut. Our Badger Mutual Insurance play of the game. This was the difference maker. Jordy Mercer turning around a fastball from Hader and an RBI double in the 7th inning. The lone tally of this game. And now the Pirates have their closer on the mound, Felipe Vasquez, formerly known as Felipe Rivero, and he is an excellent, hard-throwing left-hander. Christian Yelich will lead off for the Brewers, then Braun, then Thames. So the Brewers have a couple of left-handers coming up. Remember, they've already used Aguilar to pinch hit. Sogard is in the game as well, off the bench for the Brewers. They do have Domingo Santana available.
You know, one of the keys with Vasquez, you know, the save, the opportunities has been pretty good, and he's kind of established himself as a 9th inning guy. But I think his bugaboo is lack of command in the strike zone at times. Unfortunately for Christian Yelich, he was able to, that first pitch 97 and backed it up with a good breaking ball. He can get wild at times.
No balls, 2 strikes on Yelich, who swings and lines one into right field, a base hit. On an 0-2 pitch, Christian Yelich delivers one to right. The Brewers put the tying run on to start the 9th inning. And to your point, Dan, sometimes there's wild, sometimes there's wild in the zone.
Well, this isn't a real good pitch, 0-2, and a great piece of hitting here by Christian Yelich. Not selling out on the fastball, but the off speed, the 83-mile-an-hour slider, he does a great job of getting the barrel to it and hitting it down that corner in the right field line. This is a really good hitter and a terrific trade by the Brewers picking up Christian Yelich.
Now Braun with a chance here. The Brewers bring the go-ahead run to the plate. Braun with 8 home runs on the year. His home runs have been big ones at times. Hit a key home run in San Diego and a walk-off home run at Miller Park earlier this season. Ryan is 0 for 3 tonight. He's always handled left-handers well. This is the one matchup that Counsell wants to have with a man on. He's got a left-handed hitter due next in Thames. And a swing and a miss. Big cut by Braun. Eric Thames, who hit 2 home runs yesterday. Yelich has great speed. Anything down the line or in a gap, Yelich would be able to score from first. Pirates outfielders are extremely deep, though, against Braun. Bouncing ball foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes now.
You know, one of the things that Braun has been so good throughout his career with the Brewers, very good low ball hitter. You have to really be careful throwing that breaking ball down and into him. I've always thought he was a much better low ball hitter than a high ball hitter. What makes this at bat so difficult, Brian, is he throws so hard that you have to almost go ahead and hit off of the fastball. If the breaking ball's down, you're in trouble. There's another fastball that he buries at 96 miles an hour.
It's good play by Cervelli back there. Say 96 in the dirt. That is difficult for a catcher. Cervelli, a little pep talk for his pitcher.
This is one of those fastballs that you throw, but you really don't want to throw. You get the fastball sign from Cervelli. He kind of spikes this one right into the ground at 96 miles an hour.
That look by Cervelli would lead you to believe he crossed him up. because you don't see catchers go to block pitches on fastballs in the dirt.
And he made a trip out to the mound, which is, and you saw the smile on the face, which would lead me to believe that you might be right there, Brian.
Well, it is a big play because it keeps the tying run out of scoring position. 2-2 the count on Ryan Braun. Felipe Vasquez, the Pittsburgh closer, deals, and Braun fouls it away in and out of the glove of Cervelli. It's not a skill play for a catcher. It's either in the mitt or not. And Cervelli couldn't hang on to it. Gives Braun new life. The Brewers have 2 hits, both singles. 2 hits, 2 walks, and a hit batter, the 5 base runners tonight. Probably won't see Yelich try to steal with Braun at the plate. You might see it with Thames, though. Rivero does, or excuse me, Vasquez does not have a great move. The former Felipe Rivero, and Braun a swing and a miss. He got him with a breaking ball, put it in a good spot, and Braun strikes out for the first out of the inning.
Much like Josh Hader has done this year, that breaking ball down and in. It looks so inviting when you throw this hard, that down and in breaking ball. A terrific pitch. You just, when you throw as hard as he does, as Vasquez does, 97 to 98 miles an hour, you have to go up there hitting off the fastball, and you make yourself at times vulnerable to that breaking ball that's down and in.
Tough matchup here for Eric Thames. Hunting a mistake as Thames takes a strike on the outside corner. 97 on the black. That's the Hall of Fame spot out there. Right at the knees, right on the edge of the plate. Might have got a call too. Yelich at first. Leadoff single on an 0-2 pitch. Thames takes a ball. 98 this time from Vasquez. The splits for Eric Thames this year. He's hitting .222 against lefties. Still looking for his first homer and RBI. This would be a good spot for both. Hit 2 bombs yesterday over 400 feet. Tough matchup. 1-2 the count now.
Another good fastball with some cutting action on it. 97 miles an hour. You can tell by the late movement. Thames, you have to get it ready to hit off that good fastball.
Hernan Perez, right-handed bat, due next. Tying run at first base. Vasquez has Thames to 2 strikes, and down he goes. No chance. Back-to-back Ks for Felipe Vasquez. And the Brewers are down to their last out.
Another good 2-strike breaking ball. Just like the one to Ryan Braun, he's found that slot down and away. When you throw as hard as he does, you see that front hip and front shoulder open up. It's hard to stay in off a hard-throwing lefty.
A 1-0 Pirate lead. 2 outs, 9th inning. Perez the batter. And he takes a ball. Hernan's been one of the hotter hitters the Brewers have had. Back in the lineup starting at third base to start this game. He has since moved over to second base. Go ahead run at the plate for Milwaukee in the 9th. Perez late, fouls it away. 1 ball, 1 strike. If Hernan can reach, Santana would be next. A power bat that Counsell would like to get to the plate here in the 9th. Vasquez deals. Perez pulls it foul. And it's a ball and 2 strikes now. The Brewers down to their last strike. Got a save on Friday night against the Reds, did Vasquez. Maybe check on the runner here, Yelich. A step-off move. On a hot Monday night in Pittsburgh. Vasquez, a strike away. Perez, a slow roller foul. Hernan, typically a good two-strike hitter. He's always willing to shorten up, try to put the ball in play. Got that compact swing. Trying to keep this game alive for the Brewers and get Santana a swing in this 9th inning. Another 1-2 pitch and a swing and a foul. He went up the ladder and got it.
That's
just a piece.
And Brian, that's what makes it so tough to try to center a guy like this. He's up in the zone, a literally, I guess you could call it effectively wild. 95 to 97 up in the zone. He's made a couple of good breaking balls, one to Braun and then to Thames back to back. And it's tough to cover both pitches, the velocity at 97 and that hard breaking ball down and in. You almost have to hope to hunt for a mistake, maybe to hang a breaking ball.
Coming back to the fastball. Vasquez deals and Perez takes 98. Missed outside. Good take. 2-2 the count. Reset it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Yelich the lead at first. And Perez right to Bell. He'll go to the bag, and the Brewers shut out tonight on a spectacular pitching performance by the Pirates. 2-hitter tonight for Pittsburgh pitching. Jordy Mercer with the key hit. An RBI double with 2 outs off Hader. And the Pirates send the Brewers to their 3rd consecutive loss.
This is a tough one. Yoli Chassin was terrific, Brian. Charged with the loss. Josh Hader gave up the double down the line to Jordy Mercer. The 6 1/3 scoreless until he was taken out of the game, as Chassin was as good as I've seen him all season long. He was terrific tonight.
Tough one to take tonight. The Brewers drop the opener of this series 1-0. Time for Brewers Live. We check in with Craig Kashawn. He is standing by back in our Fox Sports Wisconsin studios. Craig?